41 acres of farmland, 15 miles northeast of Waco. Some 600 members of a religious group which called itself the Davidians gathered to pray for the events which they said would lead to the second coming of Christ. From all over the United States and parts of Canada, Davidians were flocking to this, the organization's world headquarters. Many sold most of their possessions and were making new homes in tents while they met and prayed for the fulfillment of biblical prophecies which would bring about the establishment of God's kingdom in Jerusalem following a war of all nations in the Holy Land. Davidians expected the war to break out in the Middle East within a few weeks. The Davidians, who had been rebuked by the Seventh-day Adventist Church from which they sprang, planned to go to Jerusalem following the war to prepare for the second coming of the Lord. Officials of the group tabbed as erroneous newspaper stories which said Davidians believed the war they were expecting would bring about the end of the world. Davidian pastor Dudley Goff explained the group's beliefs to Texas News cameraman Floyd Bright.
We feel that world conditions are such, in line with prophecy, that all nations are soon to gather against Jerusalem to battle. In fact, we expect that to be this spring. And according to the prophecy of Zechariah 14 and verse 2, the Lord says there that he's going to gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And the purpose in his gathering all nations there to battle is that he might prepare the land so that he can set up his kingdom, so that his people might return there and set up his kingdom in compliance or in fulfillment of the prophecy of Daniel 2:44, where the Lord says he's going to set up his kingdom down in the last days. That particular prophecy is brought out on this small chart that I have here that pictures the great image of Daniel 2, which was smote by this stone upon his feet, which Daniel said breaks the image to pieces. And Daniel said that this stone is God's kingdom that is set up in the days of these kings that are represented by the toes. Now, Daniel also told us that this stone grew into a great mountain. In other words, this stone is just a nucleus of God's kingdom to begin with, and then it begins to grow, and he says it becomes a great mountain, and it fills the entire earth. Now, that is the thing that we're expecting to come about very soon, and the beginning of it is this war in Palestine that results in the clearing of the land for God's people to go there.
Let's go back to Brother Hutt first.